Right, welcome back, guys, and another stream. So, we had lunch, me and Uncle John and the girls, and this is, um, where we sat and enjoyed the view. What a lovely view. From here on, we are now going to fly to Monterey, which is about 150 nautical mile journey. So, I'm hoping, if I look at the wind there, it's kind of still blowing a bit, but I'm hoping we're going to have a better take off than a landing. So let's go. Let's have a look. See.
Just hoping I haven't drunk too much.
That's fine. I'm flying. Don't worry. Bye bye, gentlemen. Nice chatting with you. Okay, Ryan, I'm busy giving you your access rights. Thank you for joining. There you go. So what you need to do is you need to click on the Skymatics FPO or any one of the channels, really, on any one of the voice ones, so that you do the actual connection, make the connection, and then I'll drag you in.
Are we going to put the flags out?
What flags?
The flags.
You can put them out.
I'll put them up then.
Yeah.
I reckon they've come in that on that twin, you know.
Very possible. While we were taking the break, I was thinking I need to really seriously figure out how the controls can be set up better in P3D, because right now I'm terribly upset with the controls. I don't
I
like
was going
them.
to say you're not overly happy with them, are you?
No, not a chance. This aircraft feels like it's light as a feather. There's no weight. There's nothing talking back to me when I start throwing around the controls. In X-Plane it's easy enough to put weight on them, but in this thing, ay, 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 ay. I see. You guys are already in the aircraft. Man, I'm walking too slow.
I mean, 4 up, you should have plenty of weight in.
Ah, yeah, exactly. You should, but the way it feels when I fly is just, it's error. It's an error. It's just not the way it's supposed to be. Right, let's quickly run through all the basics. Let's quickly see. We've got 3 hours and 10 minutes endurance left. You know what, let's top up to 50%. Right, everybody's happy. Check the oil. No issues. Good shape. Okay. Gonna trim down a little bit more this time because of the weights. What the hell? It's not stopping. The parking brake was on. I just started running. Then I put the parking brake off thinking it wasn't on. Anyway. Got a bit of a surprise there.
you've probably got a little bit of oil on the discs.
Mm.
TOS system test OK. Right. Gonna use this next space here to do a bit of a run up, but before we do that, also want to look at the charts and show you guys the route. See, we're fogging up a little bit, so. There we go, that's the route. So we are bottom right. We're going to follow this route all the way to Monterey. There. That is Monterey over there. Right. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the opposite direction because I see currently we have 5 knot wind, so I'm not bothered with real wind problems now, unless it's showing one thing and doing another thing. We shall see.
2 seconds, Nico.
Okay. Hey Liam, welcome to the stream. Liam, I'm okay. How are you doing? John, don't know if he's
Listen.
back. Liam says hello.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll come back to him in a minute.
Okay.
I'm just Phil Wood has just replied to me.
Well, okay,
Oh,
cool. See, that is how you take off with this thing, not like before when it started to lift the nose for no reason. Just too early.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Don't
Terrain
worry,
ahead.
honey, don't worry.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Hey Ryan. Ja, ek het dit gesien. Glue glue. Ja.
How are you doing? How are you doing? Also good, thank you. Busy with this tour in the Cessna, so having a lazy Sunday, man. Just waiting for the landing, and then I'm gonna take a Sunday afternoon snooze and maybe do one more leg today. You can join us on Discord, Tony, if you want to.
We don't bite.
We'll try not to. Got about 90 miles to go.
Do you know, I've got a funny feeling we're going to land about the same time then.
Hmm.
I'm virtually at the. I mean, I've got about 300. $325.
Okay. I think what I want to try, switch to real time, see what it looks like in real time. Yeah, let's have a look, see. Nah, let's leave it. When we get to Monterey, we'll change. Just now something breaks and then we have to fly this route again.
And that won't please you one bit, will it?
Nope. Ooh. John? This is interesting.
John,
Yes, sir.
Zebo released the 3.34 full package.
Guess what? That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm doing now. And I don't know why he's done that. He's changed all the format and everything, and he's just right at the bottom now. He's got 3.34.
No, he's removed all the others. There's only one left, and this is the one containing all the fixes, plus whatever fixes
Gotcha.
he did for today.
Gotcha.
So this
Gotcha.
is
Gotcha.
this is a new full package, please.
Gotcha.
I just
Well,
sent
I'm
the
doing the right thing then.
Yeah, I just sent him a PM just to confirm. But I mean, all indication is that this is exactly what he's done. Because I'm looking here through all the stuff that he did on our Google Drive, and I mean, he's removed all the others.
Yeah, I'm actually got up to 1.2 gigabyte at the moment. It's still downloading.
Mm.
Because I noticed the time was 12 o'clock.
Mm. Yeah, correct. He released it just now.
See, you and I are on the ball.
Mm. Well, I tried to call you a couple of minutes ago.
I do apologise, sir. What I'll do at the end of this flight is I'll get rid of my Zebo and just
You'll have
install
to.
this one.
You'll have to.
Have you announced it or not?
I did. The rotis are at it again. My wife laughed when I said or told her the story about the rotis.
Did she?
Yeah, it's funny for her. She liked it. Yeah, it's her baby, so. Hey Paul, how are you doing? Sorry, my attention has been with Zebo again for the last 10 minutes or so. Apologies for only seeing your message now. We're on Discord if you want to join us. Oh, I see you are here. I'm going to drag you in. There you go. Hello, Paul. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello there, yeah, I'm here.
There you go.
Just took me a second to switch over from the sound on the stream.
No worries.
So what's been keeping you busy today then?
Flying? And Zebo?
Same old story then?
Yeah. Wife and mother-in-law and daughter went out shopping and going all over the place because when mother-in-law comes here, this is shopping time, so you know, buying all the provisions. And me and Reinhard were here, and then he's playing his games. I'm flight simming and enjoying my time here speaking with John.
And for some unknown reason, although I've got no top of descent, I can't force it either. I've just got 2,700 minus with my VS and nothing's happening.
Doesn't make sense.
I could only say something that was really obvious. That you've obviously thought of already.
Sorted. No comment, silly me.
It's okay.
Where are you off to today, and John?
I'm just returning from Limerick on Mike, India. Bearing in mind today's the first flight for 3 days. I've been away for 3 days.
You've been having withdrawals then, yeah?
You could say that. I'm trying to make up for it a little bit. Mind you, once this flight's over, I might get an hour's kip in the chair. And are you keeping well?
Yeah, not bad. I got out earlier on, did a bit of vigilante gardening in Todmorden. That was entertaining.
Well done,
people
you.
have
What
put-
you got? Spuds in, tomatoes in, carrots.
Well, what these people have done, they've put like planting boxes all around the town, outside the railway station, things like that, and grow herbs and a few fruit bushes, and people getting off the train can pick a few things for the tea.
Sounds good.
And it got me out, and I was feeling a bit mardy this morning, so yeah, I'm
Can't
much
beat a
better
good
mood
bit
thanks
of
to
fresh air.
Yes, I've decided to actually pencil things into my diary for me for a change, so I'm going to definitely plan some proper Zebo practice rather than being happy with kind of knowing that I've got it in my head but without actually putting much of it into practice. So I'm feeling a little bit inadequate, shall we say, when it comes to flying the Zebo.
Well, I was thinking about it. It's time that I start doing more, but shorter tutorial videos. All right, I've spoken to Twixter about it. I've spoken to Jorge about it. Um, I've spoken to so many other guys, real world 7.3 pilots that are interested, but we haven't really come to an agreement how and when and where and all these things. But there's a big need for short tutorials starting from the beginning, because a lot of flight simmers have got a lot of very bad habits and half of the information that they need to actually fly properly. And it's embarrassing for a lot of them, and a lot of them's egos just cannot handle when you tell them, hey, you can't do it this way, you can't do it that way. So I must just actually start doing it, start from the beginning, put together a whole series. I actually worked out kind of like a roadmap for that already, but I need to make sure that I run it past the real world guys, that they're okay with it, because the last thing I want to do is put all the effort into it and then I propagate a bad habit of mine again. Jorge has been on me to change a couple of habits that I had, which is good, so even I know what it feels like to have to submit, and admit that what you thought was right wasn't right. So we just have to do it, man. It's just time is the issue now.
It must be quite difficult listening to real pilots when you perhaps adopt a procedure that's perfectly good in a simulator. So perhaps putting top of climb winds in rather than average wind speeds and things like that. I don't know which one is actually correct, but there's an option, isn't there?
There's an option. Look, I mean, I've watched Flydeck do some scroll down, pick a wind, and then he goes. I've never spoken to him about the way he does it. I personally, what I did was I went and I looked for the average winds. In my mind, for instance, an average wind is better than a sporadic one-time only wind. It doesn't make sense for me to say, oh, I'm going to be at waypoint ABC and that's the wind and that's the top of climb winds, because that's bullshit. Because you've got maybe 10 or 20 waypoints during your cruise. So for me, I don't know, and this is how my logic works. I use the average top of climb winds because sometimes it's going to be more, sometimes it's going to be less, sometimes it's going to be from the left, sometimes it's going to be from the right. But if you've got an average, you should be able to sail through the middle. That's how I think. But that is something that I will have to speak to both sides of the channel, because this is now another thing. The Americans fly one way and the Europeans fly another way. They don't fly the same. And this was one of the things that I picked up very, very early on, where the Americans will say that the British are crazy. You can't fly like that. And the British say, no, the Americans are crazy. So it happens. It happens. And at the end of the day, who's right? And this is why you will hear me in a lot of my streams. I say it's not about right or wrong. It's about an SOP. This company works this way. That company works that way. Pick one.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know that much about the technical side of what the computer's calculating for performance in a climb, but maybe the top of climb wind speed can be used for the climb performance, and then you re-enter the average speed for the cruise. I don't know how that works, but maybe that's what a real pilot does. And
Well,
maybe it's in their procedure, or maybe it's not. But
Paul, We actually had a discussion like that the other day. Some airlines actually operate that way. They've got a cost index for the climb. They've got a cost index for the cruise. You understand? So they
Oh
do
yeah.
change it. You do have airlines who fly that way. We don't. In South Africa, we don't. We use a cost index of 20 because for our altitudes, for our atmospheric conditions, 20 is optimal for any phase of flight. Ryanair by default uses 6 unless they pushed for time. You understand? EasyJet
I've got you.
uses
Yeah.
12, for instance. BA is one of those that also they fiddle with their CI. Some days it's up, some days it's down, some days it's 0. I mean, if you fly long haul on BA, they usually use 0. Cost index is 0. You know?
Depends how much the punters are paying as well, I suppose.
Yes, yeah. Now, how much the pounds against the euro or the dollar? You know, so um, what we need to understand about flight simming, and this is something I've tried to convey to the real world guys as well, is that you cannot expect flight simmers to fly exactly as you do in real world. There's got to be a measure or a margin of artistic license.
Tolerance.
Yeah, tolerance, artistic license, call it what you want, you know, where you've got to realize that it's not doable because another thing is when I do streaming like this, my head gets scattered between all the conversations I have, and I'm reading text, and I'm busy doing Zibo support, and I'm busy talking with the guys here on Discord, and then I forget to do something. In a real aircraft, you've got 2 guys, and it's a sterile cockpit environment. You know, they are there to do a job, so they don't miss things like a flight simulator does, for instance. But the fun for me is trying to get the guys to leave their bad habits behind. Oh my goodness. Ugh. You know,
Yes, I get
they
that.
get so offended. How can you tell me I'm wrong? I flew PMDG for 10 years. I've got 20,000 hours on it. And then the guy can't even align the Zibo IRS or get the flap speeds because PMDG never asked him to do that. You know, it's just been given to him all the time. So there was this flight sim shortcut, and now there's a bad habit. The guy just don't know how to get the flap speed. You know, it's never been asked of him. 20,000 hours later, he's incompetent in a real 737 environment. It's like this. It's like the Zibo now taking the star altitude restrictions into consideration. PMDG doesn't do that. They don't give two stuffs. And again, who's right? Who's wrong? You can't say PMDG is wrong and Zibo is right, or vice versa, because who's the audience? At the end of the day, it's taken me 2 hours with Twixter talking about real world versus flight sim, talking about, you know, what's right and how the Zibo handles it, but that's Zibo related. PMDG works different. So you always now you've got a situation where some guys are hell bent on PMDG and some guys are hell bent on Zibo, and there's going to be a fight at some point in time. Who's right? Who's wrong? And again, if your ego cannot handle submitting to the fact that nobody's right and nobody's wrong, they're both right and they're both wrong, and if your mind cannot compute that, oh boy, it's just going to be a mess.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, from my point of view, I think how my brain works is that I really don't mind being corrected. But what blocks me more than anything is, I think, the fear of failure. You know, I like to do things where I've got it very clear in my head before I even start to do something. So I've been asking you very silly, complicated questions for months now to try and get things clear in my head. Stick me in front of ATC, and I'd just be a gibbering wreck.
Exactly.
So I haven't got the practice in, and it's this fear of failure that stops me personally. And then, of course, on the other side, there's the subject of whether, you know, you've got to go through the pain. You've got to learn yourself by all these terrible failures and self-doubt to actually have earned your competence rather than just being handed on a plate.
Exactly. Well, This is
Sort
what
of
we're here
coming
for.
across to me is the fact that you've got, like Nico and myself, a very logical mind, and you need answers to the logic.
Yes. Yeah. You analyze something and then you ask questions. I mean, Paul has been grilling me, John. There's been many hours that you weren't here that Paul has been grilling me, asking highly technical questions. And when I don't know answer, I always say to him, "Look, I'll go find out and come back to you, because I don't know everything." I mean, Jorge himself said to us, he doesn't know anything. He's got thousands of hours on the Boeing. He knows what he knows, but he doesn't know the next step, the next thing, because it's not part of what you do. I mean, in the flight sim, like Jorge, said to us many times, the guys just take it too seriously. There's a way of doing it and there's a way of just not doing it. And the flight sim guys are sometimes just too much, just too serious. So anyway,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Look, one of the reasons I started the Zebo Pilots group is for training. It's for guys like you specifically. It's for Uncle John. It's for me. That is why I went out and I fetched the number of real world 73 and Boeing related pilots to come and join us so that we can ask our questions, so that we have a safe environment where we don't have to be embarrassed, feel like we failed or whatever the fear is. I mean, hi Jim, I mean, Tim Twixter is there, Jan's there, Augusto, all these real world pilots flying for all the real world airlines, they're all there. And the idea is that we want to help guys who are serious about flying properly. So don't be embarrassed and don't worry about failing. VATSIM is another step. We're busy setting up the incubator. We started talking with the guys now. So we can get you guys eased into using ATC and all, but you're going to have to practice flying the Zebo properly first, and then we're going to take the next step. So it's all just going to take some time. And sorry, that's one more thing I want to mention, because I know I'm rambling on now, is don't ever feel pushed. Tomorrow is another day. Don't push yourself to want to do everything in one day.
Absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, last night I was I spawned in one of the airports that the guys were doing the group flight on, and I wasn't sure whether I'd actually filed a flight plan, or I was sitting there properly, or whether I should ask permission about whether I should be an observer. And then I was wondering why my plane wasn't showing its call sign when everybody else's was, and is that correct? And I just didn't want to ask the guys, really.
Yeah, it's not the right place. It's not the right place. That is why what we need to do is we need to get the incubator in place, because that's going to be the right place to ask it. Or the other place to ask it is like when we are sitting here or after my flight now. Then you and I go one side, or and then we start asking and telling questions. You understand? So
The classroom.
yeah. We need a classroom situation. So 110, what is this? 70. Right, I'm just quickly entering my information for the ILS. We've got very low cloud cover here, and I'm scared to death that we're going to have a problem here. What is this?
How far to go? Oh, you're fairly close.
Yeah, very close.
Okay, sterile.
Now you guys can continue talking. I'm not pressed for time now, so if I have to do a go around, I'll do a go around. I don't care.
I'm down to 9,000, Nico.
Right, that's about 70, 78 there. So this is runway 28 left that I've set up for the ILS. And we are very close. We are very close. What I am thinking of doing is actually bugging out now. Heading. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so yeah, getting the timing right, asking the right question at the right time is going to be vital for everybody. Because you don't want to be in a live environment and then ask questions unless it's made for that, you know. But we'll get
Absolutely.
there.
So I kept my gob shut. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there. Did you get a copy, or can you go to my OneDrive and download a copy of the VATSIM training manual?
Yes, I've got it and I've read it.
Okay.
Obviously, not all of it's sunk in, but to be honest, I don't think I don't really know yet, but I don't think the actual communication's going to be that tricky. I've watched a lot of you guys do your stuff. I think it's more multitasking that with actually
Yes,
doing the flying at the same
correct.
time.
It's the multitasking, correct. You're 100% correct. The multitasking is the killer. You're either capable of doing it or not. But it helps to know the little poem that you have to say, you know, to know what the rhyme is, you know, to just substitute the information. But why I was asking about that is in there, it's obviously pertaining to other clients and not the Swift client. I've got Squawkbox in there and I think something else, I'm not sure. But if you
Yes, I'm
go,
on Squawkbox now.
yeah, if you go read through the setup there, it should give you background information. And then when you and I talk about it, it's going to make, you know, perfect sense how to set up your call sign and how to do the connection and how to get the flight plan in there. So it's maybe just scan through those pages again.
Well, I think I've got most of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like really silly questions like,
Mm-hmm.
should you be able to see the call sign on your own plane? And
No,
if not,
no,
is that a
no.
problem?
No, you shouldn't see the call sign on your own plane. It's not meant to be that way. What you want to do is you want to get Qt Scoop. If you don't have Qt Scoop, I would recommend get Qt Scoop. I know the other guys use VATSPy and all these things, but they probably don't know about Qt Scoop. So the idea is to get Qt Scoop, open it, and then you can see where everybody is basically, or at least their little dots. Then you can see your own call sign and you can see whether you have filed your flight plan or not, because that will basically show you the WhatsApp text file that comes from the VATSIM server.
You see, that's the kind of thing I want to hear. I did. The last time you mentioned Qt Scoop, I did get that, and I have used it, but I didn't realise you could use it in that particular way. So
Yeah.
that's
No, you
excellent.
just you just zoom in. You can also build a little friends list in Qt Scoop, you know, so you can see where's everybody flying and so on when your buddy's online. So it's a very nice thing. But I think that also comes down to part of the next training that we really should be doing now, you know, to take the guys to the next level. All right, we're getting far away now. I'm trying to still just put out some flaps so we don't go too fast. We need to go down. Needs to compensate now. There we go. Could have just extend it slightly and then turn around and come back and go in on that ILS. Oh, look at these mountains. Oh, goodness gracious me. You can't descend any more than that.
Holy crap!
I'm gonna climb back to 5,000. This is one of the trickiest approaches of this whole tour. I recall doing this last year as well. These mountains really make it dangerous. There's nothing on the ground proximity warning system yet, so we should be fine. We're at least 1,000 foot away from them, so
Oh, look at that. Wow.
That's quite eerie looking.
Oh, you can say that again. Right, on the approach. Wow. This is actually a bit intense. I think if you were flying in the real world, you'd seriously have somebody look out the window the whole time.
Definitely.
What the hell? I think didn't intercept the localizer by a long shot. 11070? That's correct. That's the leader line. Hmm. What is it? Why the hell does it take so long for this localizer to actually just move?
Told you our timing would be good. I'm just intercepting now.
Okay. It's not intercepting. Why?
I could say the usual joke.
It's recognizing it. India Mike Tango Bravo localizer. It's got it. Unless, oh man, that must be the center line. That thing is behaving terribly. I mean, how must I now descend and do my story if I don't even have a localizer? This is not fun. Unless it's got a limit on the range. That could be another thing. We might have to go a bit closer.
I can't remember where I was, Nico, but I had one of those. I didn't think it was going to recognise, and suddenly, at about 5 miles out, it came in.
Mm-mm. Well, we're going to seriously have to descend a bit. Yeah, I mean, otherwise we're not going to make it. So,
So you're about 8 miles out.
yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to basically zigzag over it until we get some life.
So you're way above the glide slope, aren't you?
I'm not sure with those mountains, honestly. I don't have my charts open, so I wouldn't know. I'm not sure where I should be. This is why I'm thinking I'm going to zigzag. The alternative would be to simply go past land from the other side. The winds is actually calm, so it's either or. The winds are 5 knots, so winds are calm.
At 3 degrees, it would be 9 miles, wouldn't it, for 3,000 feet?
Yeah. That's the theory. There is no glide slope recognized. Ach, my fault. Look, I'm going to press the button and then you're going to see it's going to work. What an idiot. I was still on GPS. I wasn't on nav. Man! Sorry. It was just me venting.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Damn it. Still on GPS, not on nav. There's no glide slope yet. So either we are way high, which is a very great possibility. Let's take a dive. See if it comes up. Ach, Reinhard! Sorry, guys.
He's just said what you said.
Yeah.
Damn it! The needle's coming in.
I overshoot this thing a bit. About
Very,
right.
very tricky.
Well, there's
to
the
use
runway in
that.
front of us, guys. There's the poppy lights. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this. As long as we don't crash, we can go around. Hey, Javier. This is crazy.
You can drop these little planes fairly quickly, though, can't you?
I'll just stop taxiing so I can watch you.
Well, as long as we've got those lights, we've got some or other reference. But I can tell you one thing. This is a terrible place to be. You don't want to be. Look, in the real world, I wouldn't have even attempted this. Not the chance.
Do you recall the airport altitude?
I 275 feet or something like that. 205. There we go. Okay, hang on, guys. Hang on. This is awesome. We're gonna make it.
800 feet.
500. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Now we've
Side slip.
Pull up.
yeah. That's not necessary, John.
And say I've come in from those sort of angles.
Mm. That was probably the best landing of the whole tour. Javier,
No bouncy.
nothing. No, perfect. Javier, this is the A2A Cessna 182.
Right, I can taxi in now.
You bled the speed off that very well. That's one of the better ones, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm impressed. My ego just got a boost.
And I'm sat here thinking it's so easy watching somebody else do it.
Javier, this is
It's all it is
P3D.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, this is P3D, not explained. So A2A makes this for P3D, my friend. Bloody hell. Half of this stuff didn't even
Okay,
happen.
you can wipe your brow now and stop sweating.
Phew. Now my hands are sweating. You can not believe
Yeah,
it.
white knuckle ride that, well done.
Yeah. This reminds me of high school mathematics or even varsity mathematics, you know. The teacher always said we make things, more difficult than it is. Look at my easy landings in brackets. The easy landings I make a mess, and this bloody difficult one I aced. I need to see where I'm going. Come on, come on. Oh well, if it's not perfectly straight, who cares? Right, parking brake is set. Avionics off. Taxi off. And let's see if this thing cuts out now. Took him a minute to cut out the last time. I'm wondering if the calibration isn't out on that lever. Let's worry about that later. Let's cut the fuel.
Can you choke those things out with the mixture?
Yes. Yeah. This is a study level aircraft. So if you don't play this thing properly, you'll kill it. Brum, 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 brum. There we go. It's used up all the fuel now. Welcome to Monterey, guys.
Can't believe we're both coming at the same time. I'm just switching off myself.
Awesome.
Let everybody out to go to the toilet.
Absolutely. Freaking damn it, that was amazing. So, this is Monterey. This really looks nice.
Yes, it does. Look at that.
Orbx really know how to make scenery. Man, this cloud cover was low.
Yeah, very scary. Is that some kind of sea mountain effect that's
I don't know.
replicated by the
Probably.
weather engine or whatever?
Probably. I'm just taking some screenshots as we look around. He's a Grumman goose as well. Grumman goose. Hey, that was too fast.
Soft landing, Nico.
Is it?
-10.
Well, it happens. Don't worry too much about it.
You've had your leg slaps, John, for a soft landing.
Yeah.
You do, yeah. -10.
I heard somebody say that in the wet it's important to break through the water so you don't aquaplane, but
Yeah.
in the dry is it such a big deal?
Yes, still
Seems
big.
so.
Yeah,
Is with right, yeah, virtual.
the issue with a soft landing is if those wheels don't start spinning, you take the tread off because you effectively start skidding. So there's an optimal range of how hard you need to get them planted so that they actually start spinning instead of skidding, because they're expensive. Besides that, it's dangerous. So
That I understand, yeah, interesting.
yeah.
But with Ryanair, it's a very fine balance whether it's a decent landing.
The thing is with in the sim, it's so damn hard to determine your actual position. You know, your perspective isn't like in a real plane. It's
No,
not
it's
like
not. No, it's not.
you don't feel it. You've got to let your mind actually play a trick on itself to get the correct,
You need the 3 dimensions.
yeah, to get the correct feeling and attitude and altitude and everything. Anyway, guys, stay with me on Discord, but I'm gonna stop this stream. Thank you guys for watching this one. I'm not sure if I'm gonna fly another one of these trips today. We'll talk about that later, and if I come back, cool. Otherwise, keep your eyes peeled. We'll see what happens. Thank you for joining. Bye bye.